come as literally no surprise to anybody on this planet that women are not wanting to have children anymore, considering the fact that the main reason for divorces nowadays is lack of commitment. And women are usually the ones who initiate divorces, right? Men will sit there and try to say that, oh, women are always the one who leave relationships. You guys are the one divorcing us. You gotta be so for real right now. How many times did your wife tell you, I need you to do this, I need you to do that, stop doing this, stop cheating on me, take care of our kids, help me with the groceries, help me with cleaning the house? And then you expect her to not only take care of the house, take care of the kids, take care of you, but then go and work 9 to 5 and go 50-50 with you? Are you out of your freaking mind? No kidding, women don't want to have children anymore. No kidding, women are divorcing men, because why would I want to deal with the stress of you doing F shit behind my back? Me taking care of these kids that I birthed, literally ruined my body for you, that you don't even take care of. Why would I want to do that when I can just go be alone, stress-free? No kidding. No kidding. But men will always sit here and try to blame the demise of society on us when they're literally the ones that built society.
I'm not surprised she doesn't have a husband. She's probably already hit the wall. You can tell she's unbearable. The only thing she knows how to do is blame men, even for her own decisions. She says women get divorced because men don't help, but society's decline comes from the abuses of marriage. How easily women can break their vows, the benefits they get after a divorce, and the complete lack of marital tradition. They complain about taking care of the house, but not about the fact that the man provides for them. They can't handle him simply asking for a meal made with the groceries he bought himself. Because in the end, they just want to receive but aren't willing to contribute anything.
Your wife or girlfriend did not leave you because you asked for a glass of water one time. She didn't leave you because you forgot to empty the dishwasher yesterday. She didn't leave you because you forgot to take out the trash last week. She didn't leave you because you left the clothes in the washing machine overnight. She didn't leave you because you did this one time. Most women leave a relationship after years and years of trying to make it work. Most women leave after they feel as though their partner has repeatedly ignored their request for participation in the house. They don't leave because you did something one time. They leave because they've asked you repeatedly to participate in the home, to wash the dishes, to switch over the laundry, to notice what needs to be done. They leave because they are tired of doing everything alone. They leave because they're tired of being undervalued in their home. They leave because of this narrative that if she doesn't have a job, then she doesn't provide any value. Women are leaving not because their partners have done something one time. They're leaving because their partners repeatedly disrespect them and undervalue them, especially in marriage. Women are leaving because they are tired of working full time, taking care of the kids and cleaning the house and never getting a thank you, but always getting pushback when they ask for help. Women are leaving because they don't want to do it alone. They would rather be outside of a relationship doing it by themselves than in a relationship doing it by themselves, okay? Women don't break up with you because you did something one time. They do it because your repeated behavior has eroded their trust and they know you don't respect them. That is why your partner breaks up with you.
Fuck up, you crazy bitch whore!
When household task robots hit the market, I'd love to see what excuse they'll use then. She says women leave because they're tired of doing everything alone. But do they ever thank their husbands for putting food on the table every day? For covering all the expenses without complaining? No, because they see it as his obligation. This is the typical woman who won't even make her husband a meal because he's an adult and can do it himself. But if she does, she expects something in return. If that's the kind of woman I'd end up with, I'd rather be alone.
Your future husband is never going to be the guy who leaves you writing paragraphs in your notes app. Your future husband is never going to be the guy who makes you feel like you're asking for too much. Your future husband is never going to be the guy who walked away and made it seem like your needs were crazy. Your future husband is never going to be the guy who makes you feel worse about yourself. Baby girl, I know that you feel sad that this person is not in your life anymore, but trust me, when you get disrespected on a certain level, you need to ask yourself, would my future husband ever make me want to feel like this or do this to me? The answer is going to be no. And you need to be so turned off and so uninterested in that behavior that your only choice is to move forward.
You know what bothers me about this discourse? It completely ignores that we're human beings and that everyone has the right to have a bad day. Women, because of their hormones, have terrible mood swings. And if they're also unstable, need therapy, or have been through too many chats, it's even worse. But if a man is emotionally unavailable just once, suddenly he's a red flag and needs to be discarded. The same thing happens with divorce. They complain about everything, make dumb decisions based on emotions, and then refuse to take responsibility. Because in the end, responsibility is kryptonite for women. Just watch the next video.
My story is not unique. I left a marriage after 15 years. I had 3 kids with the man. I had built a life with him, and I really wanted it to work. Deciding when it was time to leave, deciding that I had tried hard enough, deciding that yes, it was worth to take the risk of the unknown for leaving the known, which I had become very accustomed to over the last 15 years. And even though I was miserable, there was some security to it. There was a little bit of, at least I was comfortable in knowing what to expect. As the years would roll by and every birthday I got the same card that said next year will be better, I somewhere deep inside thought to myself, there's no way. And the only way that my life is going to change is if I leave. But I had 3 kids. And I was also thinking, wait, if my happiness means that I'm taking away the kids' happiness, and all of the guilt that came into play of, am I being so selfish that I want to leave this? And is it bad enough? But here's the kicker. The kicker is that if you are in a place where you are absolutely miserable, you're being treated horribly, or whatever your circumstances are, but you know in your heart that the only way to change your life is to leave, let me tell you that you will carry guilt with you, that it will be extremely difficult. And when you are looking for people who you're like, okay, well, she left and look how her life turned out, and you're looking for examples, and your mind is researching for the evidence that you're going to be okay, I'm going to tell you that no matter what it is, that's the unknown that's on the other side. If you are in a situation right now where years are passing by and you are still miserable in a relationship and you're not being taken care of and you're not being seen and you're not being heard and you're just being alone in a marriage, the unknown is terrifying, but there's nothing more terrifying than looking back and seeing all the years that you wasted living in fear.
15 years of marriage, and she wants to leave simply because it's not satisfying for her. There's no valid reason behind it. She just wants to walk away, destroy everything she built with that man, and put her kids in a worse situation. And of course, she justifies it with the classic mystical phrase, what's best for the mother is best for the children. No, what's best for the children is a stable family. But she doesn't care because her personal happiness comes first. It's a completely selfish decision. That whole it's terrifying act, not even she believes it. She's a lawyer. She knows exactly what benefits she can take from the marriage. There's nothing terrifying when your happiness is 50% funded by your ex-husband.
Holy shit. If I had known this is what my life was going to look like, I don't know, 6 years after I asked for a divorce, I would have never believed myself. I was looking so hard for evidence that I was going to be okay. Like, who else has left their marriage after 15 years? And were the kids okay? And am I being the most selfish person ever? And are we ever going to recover financially? We were already struggling financially. Are we going to be okay? Like, how in the world am I going to be able to raise 3 kids completely on my own and financially on my own? And how am I going to make ends meet? And I'm completely alone. I remember we're sitting at a stoplight and just thinking, I'm so alone. I should just go back. Like, I can't possibly do this on my own. And here I am, I think roughly 6 years later. I'd have to do the math, but a lot of years later. And I am happily married. But you know what? Even if I wasn't happily married, being happily married was almost another one of those milestones where I wasn't even looking to get married again. I just happened to fall in love with the most amazing partner in the world. But even if I had not met him and fallen in love with him, I see what I've built. I've built an incredible business. I've built a life for my kids that they are thriving in a way that I know they would not have been thriving if I'd stayed in that marriage. But I will tell you this. I hope this story encourages you, because if you look back on your life and you have lived in fear for so long that you don't ever see what's on the other side of that what if, flip that what if around. Like, everybody's always so focused. I mean, I know I was so focused on what if he really changes now? What if it's really different now? What if I'm giving up? And even though it's been 15 years and patterns show that he's not changing, what if now is the time he changes and I missed out on it? What if he becomes the man I always dreamt he was going to be, full potential, and somebody else gets him? those were all the what ifs I had. But flip that around, and it sounds so cliche, but what if you had the courage to leave this current relationship and you were able to fall in love with yourself and give yourself the love and the compassion and allow yourself to be seen in a real way and know what it feels like to be in your full potential and not just taking care of somebody else's needs all the time, but truly being able to become your full self so that you can make sure that your children's full selves are feeling completely and totally emotionally cared for, and that your dreams are being realized. What if you believed and bet on yourself rather than betting on him, and the greatest life you could ever imagine came to fruition? What if?
Stop it. Get some help.
In short, her life is good because she got involved with another man who provides that good life. You'll only ever hear this from a woman. You'll never hear a man say, "I left my wife and 3 kids because their father deserves to be happy with another woman." You'll never hear, "My happiness is the children's happiness." But here she is, claiming her kids are better off in 2 homes, when no one even asked them if they wanted 2 homes in the first place. Brothers, there's an important lesson here. Always get a prenup. Because they always break their word when marriage stops being satisfying for them. Remember, they always deserve to be happy, even if it means destroying their family in the process.
The 5 things I would never do as someone who's been through the most horrific, traumatizing, damaging, never-ending, messy, ugly, costly, vicious divorce on the planet. 1, I would never not be aware of my finances, all of it. You need to know your bank accounts. You need to know your mortgage. You need to know your debt. You need to sit with the accountant when your taxes are done. You need to be aware of the financial picture for your family. You may think he's a sweet guy and he's doing all of it for you and he's taking care of the hard stuff. No, know your finances. 2, I would never not change my passwords on everything. Phone, iCloud, social media, bank accounts. Change your passwords on everything the moment you suspect you're heading down that divorce road. There ain't nothing like your ex buying a blank phone, a new phone, plugging it into your family computer and hitting the button download, restore from iPhone, but it's your iPhone. So now he just has a clone of your iPhone. Every text, every photo, everything you do, it shows up on his phone. That's essentially your phone. Change your passwords. Never accept a friend request from a hot guy you don't know. There ain't no hot guy you don't know. It's him. It's just him. He's trying to sneaky leak into your social media, spy on you, stalk you, get into your shit. No, just say no. I know you're lonely and you want the hot guy, but it's not him. It's just the ex. Last and the hardest, don't ever talk badly about this asshole to your kids. It's their father, and they will one day be old enough to realize what a piece of he is. So don't do it. Give them their innocence. Give them this time. And if this message came to you at exactly the right time because you needed to hear this, you're welcome. I'm here for you, girl. I've been there.
Hell to the no, to the no, 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 no. Hell no.
No surprise that the first thing she mentioned was money. When you hear a woman say her marriage was difficult, you can bet the issue was financial. They talk about going through hell with men, but in a divorce, what they're really dividing are the assets the man worked for. His house, his savings, his time with his kids, and in the worst cases, his 401k, child support, and even alimony. That's why when a man sees that they're coming for everything he has, he goes into defense mode. Because they talk like saints, but they're out to take everything they can. So when you hear a woman say her divorce was difficult, just know she didn't manage to take the whole bag.
So what makes people divorce after 20 years? That question's for me.
So every marriage is different, obviously, and every situation is going to be extremely unique. Got it. And, nothing against what this young lady was saying in her particular case. The reason I stitched it is because it brings up a very interesting point, and that's this 20-year mark. So why do people get divorced after 20 years? And there's cause and effect, right? And she goes on to say secrets, which is absolutely true in her case. So, got it. But let's look at this a little bit bigger, right? Just zoom out a minute. What happens after 20 years? Yeah, your first year or 2, you're kind of kid-free, and then a kid comes along. So 18 plus the 2 years you were a kid, 20 years. Typically what happens, even when there are secrets that pop up after 20 years, the kids move out. The kids are grown up. Well, because the kids were the common denominator in that relationship, and it wasn't built on anything else. When that common denominator leaves, it kind of opens up that floorboard, and whatever else is there that hasn't been dealt with pops up, like secrets, like building separate lives, like I don't know you anymore, and all those other sort of things. And really the cause for that is because we were counting on the kids being the common denominator, as opposed to a purpose, a mission, a joint calling in life. You know, we have this pattern in America, in Western society, where we get married and we think, oh, I love you so much. And then you go on and do your life, your career, your friends, your hobbies. And then she goes out and does her career, her friends, her hobbies. And the only common denominator, like I said, was the kids. And you take the kids away, nothing left. And then we wonder why there's affairs. We wonder why there's, you know, all these secrets that you didn't share with each other. You wonder why you feel like you didn't know each other. Because the reality is, you don't know each other. You don't. When you take out work, when you take out kids, when you take out sleeping and showering and all that sort of stuff, the average American couple spends less than 30 minutes a day of actual quality time together. So in 20 years, you haven't spent 6 months, really, with this person.
He's right about one thing. The more time you spend with someone, the more you get used to the routines and less to the relationship. But this really happens when intimacy dies. A marriage with an active sex life that does things together, goes out for dinner once or twice a month, and shares hobbies doesn't reach this point. The connection stays strong when both partners put in real effort. So, men, never let physical contact disappear from your relationship. A hug, a kiss, a spontaneous touch, even the classic grab your wife's ass move. Because where physical contact is lost, lust dies, and with it, the relationship.
Comments like this are so funny because it implies that getting divorced is easy. As if people just like wake up in the morning one day and say, hey, I'm going to get a divorce. On average, it takes a woman 4 years to leave her marriage. Women are putting in the work. They're going to therapy. They're putting in the work to make the relationship work. And mind you, it takes two to make a marriage successful. Divorce is the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And even in the best situation, it is emotionally taxing. It is financially devastating. It affects every aspect of your life, not to mention the amount of shame that you feel as a divorced person. It affects your children and everyone around you. So instead of basing a comment like this on a 10-second video, maybe try to read between the lines and know that there's more to the story than that.
Of course, there's more to the story, but you're only telling your version, painting your husband as the abuser and yourself as the victim who gave it all. The problem with this narrative is that it sells the idea that the one who leaves is the strong one, that breaking vows, destroying a home, and abandoning a family is some kind of act of bravery. But who is truly strong? The person who runs away because they're not happy, or the man who, despite living a miserable life, keeps fighting for his marriage? It's no coincidence that 80% of divorces are filed by women. Because when the relationship stops being exciting, instead of working on it, they look for the easiest way out. And then they come with the story that divorce is the hardest thing they've ever done. Hard as staying and fixing what they broke.
I'm going to be really honest, sharing your kids and your parent time after divorce is one of the hardest parts. This is one of my number one asked questions. Do I stay for my kids? I don't want to give up time with my kids. Getting used to not seeing your kids all the time. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It was excruciating. It can be really gut-wrenching at times and is still hard sometimes. So if that is one of the reasons why you're staying in your marriage, honestly, that's a very valid reason to stay. Not being with your kids all of the time is a very true reality. Does that outweigh my feelings in the relationship right now? And is it worth it to leave? And if that is not something that you are willing to give up, there are some pros too. Like when we do get our kids, it is very quality time. I really make sure that when I have my kids, that I am present. That time is really special because I don't get them all the time. This time heals things. You learn to enjoy your time off from kids too. Do I miss my kids every time that I don't have them? Absolutely. But if I focus on that, then I'm sad all the time. I just choose to focus on having the best time with them when I do have them. And when I don't, I get to have me time. I get to have days where I focus on being an entrepreneur. Honestly, that's been something that I've learned to embrace and love. Even though there are still hard moments, overall, my kids get to see a happier, healthier version of their mom and dad. We're in a healthy, happy space, and our kids are in a healthy, happy space.
It's hard to believe this when you used your kids to make money by filming YouTube videos. Now you say it's tough not having them all the time. But imagine what a man feels when he only gets to see them 2 days a week. Many fathers go from seeing their kids every day in a marriage to only having them on weekends, if they're lucky and the mother doesn't make it difficult. If the relationship with the ex-wife is bad, seeing their children becomes a nightmare. That's why today, more kids are disconnected from their fathers. Not because the father doesn't want to be there, but because the system and the mother push him away. Then these kids grow up resentful, never knowing their father fought to be in their lives.
So every day I counsel women and men who are unhappy in their marriages and their relationships. And do you know what across the board, every one of them says when I ask them this question? When I ask them, if your partner came up to you and said, I agree, we really aren't great together, I think we should move forward and separate, what would you say? They said, I would feel so relieved. And do you know why they say that? Because every single person I've worked with has not verbally said, I'm ready to divorce and took the steps to do it, simply because they're afraid of hurting the other person. They're afraid of hurting their feelings. So while I hear all this bullshit on this app about people being blindsided, and mind you, yes, that does happen sometimes, it is not the majority. It is denial of the other person that things are not okay. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if one person is that unhappy, the other person is not happy. They're not getting fulfilled with love languages, intimacy, sex. They're not getting fulfilled with any of it if their partner is so unhappy to the point of divorce, they are just in denial of seeing it. While their partner is literally just unhappy and miserable and willing to stay that way because they just don't want to hurt their feelings. Y'all, life is way too short to stay in a marriage relationship situation simply because you're afraid to hurt the other person. They're going to get hurt by you staying because you guys will never fulfill each other anyways. Do them justice and speak how you feel. I promise you, the other side, you'll be okay. You will be okay on that other side. So speak your piece and be honest. And on the flip side, the person receiving this message, stop being in denial and realize that you deserve to be loved the way you need to be loved. And this person that is unhappy with you can't give that to you. And it's okay. And sometimes people grow apart. Stop holding on to something just because of your pride, or you think you've failed if you get a divorce. You haven't failed. It is just a chapter closing, and there will be another.
Oh, hell no!
The worst thing about this generation is the fake empathy for everything. If you come in second place, it's okay. At least you tried. If you destroy your marriage, it's okay. You gave it your all. If you abandon your career to live your life, it's okay. You're on a journey of self-discovery. This fake empathy is what makes people applaud bad decisions. That's why there are so many women making videos like they're motivational coaches for people who ruin their marriages. This whole narrative is just cheap consolation. It's not about you deserve to be loved differently. It's about justifying that you destroyed your home because you got bored. And of course, instead of taking responsibility, they pat you on the back and tell you you did the right thing. This is how society encourages failure.
It takes so much courage to end a marriage, to separate, to say the words, I'm not happy. It takes so much freaking courage. And for all the people in your life that you think are wondering, thinking about you, just know that those of us who have walked in your path, we know you didn't wake up yesterday thinking, I think I'm going to ask for a divorce. It didn't just happen. It took years of you micromanaging, stuffing down your feelings, settling for less than, hoping things will get better, wishing if he'll ever change. Maybe decades. You didn't just wake up this weekend thinking, oh yeah, I think I'm going to change my whole life, blow up my kids, move, untangle a family that's been woven together for years and years and years. I know you didn't just wake up and do this. And this is why having support through this process, for me, it was critical. I was not going to be able to get through it. I just wasn't. And I'm one of the stronger people I know. But you know what? Strong people know that they need support. Strong people know that they need some help in navigating the unknown, in navigating the most emotional and financial disruption you will ever have in your life at the same time. And that's why it's an honor to walk through this process with many of you, because I know you didn't just wake up wanting this. I know that this has been tearing at your heart for a very long time, and I do not take this work lightly. If and when you decide to seek support, whether it's with me or someone else, make sure they know how tender your heart is. Make sure they understand and respect the difficulty that this decision is and the weight that you carry around with you and have been carrying around with you for a very long time. If you're new to me, I'm Lisa Blaisdell. I am a midlife woman's change and empowerment coach. And yes, I help brave women like you navigate the difficult, rocky waters of divorce. I help you take care of yourself, choose yourself, fall back in love with yourself so that you can get through this season, land on your feet, and have the most beautiful second chapter, because you deserve it.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Here we have another divorce coach, just one more getting rich off other people's misfortune. She says that it takes a lot of courage to end a marriage. Really? So now, the one who runs away from their relationship and destroys their home is the strongest person? That makes no sense. The strongest person is the one who holds the family together, who keeps it united, who navigates the rough patches without giving up. Not the one who ruins their entire family's life for selfish desires. And the worst part is that, many times, there's no abuse or infidelity. Just, I feel dissatisfied with the life I've built. But of course, in a capitalist country like this, everything is a business, even your misery. If they can sell you the idea that breaking your home apart is empowerment, trust me, they will.
The comment section under that video of hers was eye-opening, shall we say. Not only did they prove her point, but it was full of women getting angry with her for being a parent and a homemaker. It's like a new level of misogyny that we're seeing. You're not acting how I want women to behave, so I'm gonna belittle you and mock you for it and tell you that you're wrong. Does this sound familiar? I called this years ago, and now it's just as clear as day. I don't know about anyone else, but my idea of feminism was for women to be whatever they wanted to be, whether it be a CEO of a company or a homemaker and a parent. I think they're both as good as long as you're making your own choice. Why are other women having a go at other women for making their own choice? I don't get it. And I'm not going to lie, I do find it quite ironic, because the same people who are behaving this way are exactly the same people who are complaining about men behaving the exact same way 100 years ago. Be done.
Feminism only fights for equality within its own sect. If a woman decides on her own that she wants to put her family first, she is immediately attacked. We see it clearly here. The same feminists who claim to fight for women's freedom are the first to insult and belittle a woman who chooses to be a housewife. Because if you don't follow the script, they will tear you down. The most ironic part is that they don't even know what they're fighting for anymore. Ask them what rights they don't have, and they won't be able to answer. They've simply turned hatred for men into their identity and want all women to do the same.
Something that men frequently don't understand when it comes to women leaving their marriage is why it took her so long. Because as I've talked about on here before and other content creators, it is a slow ride towards the end, wherein a woman starts to dislike her husband more and more until it turns into hate, until it turns into a point where she just can't even stand to live in the same home with him. And eventually she files and she leaves. And I just heard a quote on here. The most dangerous man is the one that doesn't love you, but doesn't want to let you go. That's why it takes women so long to leave their marriage. Because while things are unraveling and we are starving for connection, we're trying to make it work. And it is so apparent that he just doesn't love us, just doesn't like us, but then he'll do the bare minimum to make it seem like he's actually putting forth an effort, and he does it for a couple weeks and then things go right back to square one. And it's so hard to believe that's actually happening. So that's why it takes us so long to actually walk out that door. It's not because we're using men or because of any type of nefarious intention. It's because we genuinely do try our very best effort. It's just that we are with a husband that doesn't want to let us go, but also doesn't want to love us.
Stop it. Get some help.
If divorce laws were fair, many women would stay married, and many men would file for divorce. The problem is that they aren't fair. If a woman marries purely for financial gain, what's the difference between that and being a loveless wife who only stays until she gets what she wants? Men don't want to leave their marriages because the cost is enormous. If you separate, you should leave with what you worked for. But that's not how it works. You take 50% of his savings. You get custody of the kids. You kick him out of his own house. And then you move another man into the same home he paid for. This isn't a decision made out of love. It's a financial decision. That's why men almost never file for divorce. Because it's not just leaving a relationship, it's losing everything.
So what happens when it's too little, too late? When your partner finally starts stepping up in the relationship, but you've moved on, at least mentally and emotionally you have. One of the hardest parts about leaving a relationship is when your partner finally starts doing all of the things you needed, but by then you just don't feel the same anymore. You might find yourself thinking, oh, if only they had done this years ago. Or why now? Why not when I was fighting for us? Or am I giving up too soon? Or should I try harder now that they're changing? Here's the truth. Love isn't just about effort. It's about timing and consistency and emotional connection. If you've been checked out longer than you were ever truly happy, forcing yourself to stay isn't going to bring those feelings back. Guilt can be loud, but it shouldn't be the reason you stay. You are not responsible for someone else's delayed effort. And you don't owe them another chance if your heart is no longer in it. You deserve a love that feels alive, not one that just looks good on paper.
Hell to the no, to the no, 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 no. Hell no.
Here we have a woman who has been through 3 divorces, telling you that you deserve a love that makes you feel alive. But those who go through life chasing only intense emotions end up alone because every relationship goes through 3 stages. The first stage is where everything feels perfect. The second is where the relationship is built. The third is where you face monotony, financial burdens, and the stress of maintaining a home. Women like this only want to live in the first stage. They are not wife material. And now she's a relationship coach? The only thing she truly knows is how to get divorced. It's ironic. But watch where many of these women end up in the next video.
Finally, my first time getting hit on in Home Depot.
Yay!
And he's not even attractive.
Ha! So, probably the last time you'll get hit on in Home Depot after this TikTok going viral.
I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
I know.
But I'm here all the time.
I don't get it. Me being a lady should have all these men being magnetized towards me so I can reject them and belittle them on TikTok. Why aren't they coming towards me? I can't figure it out.
So for all you people who are like, go to Home Depot, that's where all the men are. No, they're not.
Oh, believe me, they are. But women have spoken and they've told men not to approach them because it's considered as harassment. Unless you find them attractive, and then it's wanted attention. But we don't know whether we're attractive or not, so we're not going to take that risk. So, in short, we don't bother. And to top it off, Home Depot is the worst place you can go looking for a man. Yes, there will be lots of men, but it's man stuff. They are going to be distracted about the things that they can build and make and do manly things. And sorry, you can walk by and you are not more important than building shelves on a Sunday. But there's a lesson to be learned here. You can stand around looking pretty and expect men to come towards you and have you reject them. Or you can acknowledge that men are now conforming and they're not going to even try it. So the only option that's left is ladies. It's the time of the woman. It's your turn to approach men. And you've got to learn to get rejected. If you want a man, you're going to have to go and get him. Because they're not coming to you anymore. They've been told not to. Ladies, rise up!
Wouldn't it have been easier to fight for your marriage? Because now we have a 45-year-old woman at Home Depot complaining that men don't approach her. This has to be a joke. Men got the message. If you want a partner, you'll have to make the first move and risk rejection. Because we're not playing the same game anymore. You're on the wall. And as we all know, the wall doesn't forgive. Now it's time to learn what men have known all their lives. If you want something, go after it. But of course, that was never part of the plan.
Women.
My ex-husband hopped on a train and left me 2 days after I gave birth. And the funniest part is the whole time he was gone, I was talking back and forth with his best friend who swore that he had no idea where he was. Turns out he was on the other side of the country, kicking it with his best friend and staying with / sleeping with some random woman. And I guess to this day, he still doesn't know if that woman had a kid of his too. Well, it was brought to my attention the other day that that best friend of his has found my TikTok. And I guess he just loves to watch them. Well, when I found his TikTok page, I noticed that he's married now and has a kid of his own. So I just have a couple questions. Would you do what you did to me to your wife? Would you do what you did to my daughter to your son? Are you proud of yourself? Are you proud of your best friend who you helped throughout all of that? I'm just curious. Let me know.
Oh, hell no!
This might be an unpopular opinion, but I don't get involved in my friends' personal lives. I'm not friends with their wives. I greet them out of courtesy, and that's it. My friendship is with him, not his partner. As long as he doesn't betray me or turn out to be a bad friend, his personal life is none of my business. Now, in the case of this woman, she doesn't know the truth. It's possible that her friend gave him good advice or simply stayed out of it. Because, like I said, you respect privacy and don't meddle in your friends' lives. But I bet that if she saw her friend cheating on her husband, she would never expose her. In fact, she'd be the first to cover for her. Because women don't betray each other. If you doubt it, just look at the stories from girls' trips.
My husband is getting drinks with a female coworker of his, and I am terrified. We've been together for 10 years, married for 5. A couple of nights ago, he was showing me a video on his phone, and that's when a text message came through from a female's name that I did not recognize. He doesn't have his text previews on, so I didn't know what she said. And whenever I asked him who it was, he said, "Oh, that's my coworker, TJ." Huh? The whole time I've thought that TJ was a man. And now I find out that this is the TJ that he's been going and having lunch with for the past 2 weeks. TJ is short for Teresa, and I won't tell you her last name, but it starts with a J. They are colleagues, but they don't work for the same company. Essentially, their companies work together. And he did tell me he was trying to win TJ over because it opened up a really big opportunity for him. I did look TJ up, and she's a very beautiful woman, so obviously this raised my suspicions. When he went to go take a shower that night, I'm not proud of it, but I did go through his text from her. Now, mind you, his company goes out for like company dinners probably at least once a week. And sometimes the other company will come and they will market together. But I saw a text from him asking her if she made it home okay. And then saying that he wished that he would have got to talk to her more that night. That his colleagues had taken up a lot of his time. And then he asked her if she wanted to get drinks again with him. I knew he did tell me about TJ, but I didn't realize that TJ was a gorgeous Latino woman. I scrolled back a little bit further, and then I realized he had actually driven her home from one of these dinner parties, because she texted him and said, "Thanks for the ride home. Can't wait to talk with you again." Now, I don't want to jump to conclusions. Read some more of their texts. Some of them were about work. Some of them were personal. She's going through a divorce, come to find out. Then my husband got out of the shower, and I didn't want him to know that I was snooping. He's never been anything but loyal to me. It's not like he's been keeping TJ from me. He's just been keeping the fact that TJ is a beautiful woman from me. So before he got out of the shower, I made sure to turn on his text previews. Brings me to last night. We were laying in bed watching TV, and around 1 a.m., he got a text from her that said, "You up." Now, that is notoriously a booty call message. And I asked him why she would be texting him that, and he was like, "I have no idea. Maybe she's drunk, and maybe she didn't mean to send it to me." Okay. So I just drop it. I'm like, okay, maybe she did mean to text somebody else. Around 6 a.m., his phone buzzes, and she asked him if he had any spicy cubes. Which I'm like, why does she even know what spicy cubes are? He says he recommended them to her because she is going through a divorce that she doesn't want. He was asking him for advice, and if they took them together, that maybe it could bring back their spark with their intimacy or something. I don't know. Which is true. That is helpful information. I don't know. Then as he was getting ready for work, I went out to his car to get my gym shoes out. And there was a box of spicy cubes in his back seat, and most of them were laying on the floor. There was only 6, meaning that there were 2 missing. I feel like I'm going crazy because I confronted him about it, and he acted like I was just totally being silly, like those were our gummies. They must have fallen out in the back seat. I don't ever remember taking them with him in the back seat of his car. We always take my car when we go out. He acts like I'm just being silly, and he laughed it off. He acts like it's nothing, but I literally feel like I'm going insane. I'm contemplating literally following them. Is that crazy? Should I just follow them? Should I just go see for myself, what is going on?
Stop it. Get some help.
Let me be clear. This woman has more than just work-related intentions with her husband. Let's not be hypocrites. But he hasn't cheated on her. Yes, she has reasons to be jealous because if the roles were reversed, no man would tolerate this. But going on TikTok to criticize your husband and expose his personal life, that's completely unnecessary and harmful. On top of that, she goes through his phone, which is already an invasion of privacy. And worst of all, she makes a huge scene knowing that he's waiting for a job opportunity. This video could go viral, attract feminists who send letters to his company, or start rumors that could cost him his job, all because she couldn't keep their problems inside the house. But wait, there's more.
Tell me why my husband just called me talking about I need to come pick him up from work right now because he ate a spicy cube without me. The part that sucks the worst is that this has always been a very playful game that me and my husband have played with each other until his female coworker texted him, "You up" at 1 a.m. Then proceeded to ask him about spicy cubes and if he had any, which had me absolutely tripping all week long to the point where I went through his text messages. I even snuck into his work event without telling him. And then she showed up to the work event with her husband, whom, mind you, was trying to divorce her, but she just didn't want it. Also, to make matters worse, I had found a pack of spicy cubes in the back of my husband's car when I went out to get my gym shoes, and there were 2 missing. He said we must have taken them. Well, he joked when we were at the party saying that his plan worked and that he did give them to his female coworker, and that's why her and her husband were leaving to go home together. They did not look like 2 people who were about to get divorced. They were PDAing capital fucking A. And the thing is I'm really not even mad at him. I'm just so mad at the situation because I don't know what to do. He's about to land a promotion because of this woman. But tell me why she sent my husband a text in the middle of the fucking night again, talking about how well those spicy cubes worked for her, in depth, saying things that I cannot say on this app. And the thing is, my husband is so close to getting a promotion. They still have a little bit of work that they have to do together before he settles up with this promotion. And then supposedly she's getting transferred to another location. But I want to confront her and be like, why the are you doing this? He's a married man, you're a married woman. What is going on? To the point where I'm about to text her husband. It's not going to be a "you up" text. And I'm glad that they had a good time and they're not getting a divorce in some way, but some people are just so inappropriate. I don't want to ruin someone's marriage. This is just not my personality, but also I just don't know what to do. Should I just let it slide? Let my husband get the promotion and let this woman just vanish? Or am I just being totally gaslit? Because at this point, I don't know.
Do you know what the real problem is here? That it's very possible this man isn't doing anything wrong, yet she's already blaming him. If you look at the comments on her post, everyone is already calling him a cheater when, most likely, he's just focused on getting his promotion to improve his family's financial situation. On top of that, the coworker used those spicy cubes with her husband to save her marriage and even thanked him for it. What more proof does she need that he's not doing anything wrong? Now, with her threats on the internet, all she's doing is putting both her marriage and her husband's career at risk. If the other woman sees this and decides to retaliate at work, she could completely ruin him.
I just found out that my husband's coworker is in an open relationship. You know, TJ, his coworker that sent him the "you up" text at 1 a.m. You see, I thought TJ was a Tom, but TJ is actually a Teresa. A very, very, very gorgeous Teresa, mind you. She proceeded to ask him about spicy cubes. Make a long story short, he gave her some spicy cubes to try with her husband because apparently her husband had threatened her with divorce. They did take them together. I was like super suspicious, followed him to his work event, didn't tell him I was coming just to see how they would be acting around each other. Saw Teresa and her husband, and they were PDAing, okay? They had definitely taken some of those gummies, and they left together early. They were working. The gummies were gummying. That's when I was pretty much ready to drop it, and until she texted my husband again in the middle of the night, thanking him for the spicy cubes. Valid, okay. I understand it was her first time taking him, but then letting him know how well they worked on her. Sir, he doesn't need to know how well they work on you. He knows how well they work on me. Why are you telling him that? Like, that's fucking weird. He's married. So are you. So that low-key pissed me off. I told my husband, I'm going to tell her husband. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're over here wanting to take spicy cubes and make sure your husband doesn't file for divorce. Okay. But then you're still texting my husband in the middle of the night, like, after you take them with your husband. Like, that's weird. Tell your husband how well they worked. Why are you telling mine? So I went to go message him on the good old Facebook, and mid-message my husband does let me know that Teresa is actually being transferred. So then I'm like, okay, do I really care? Like, am I really wanting to mess with their marriage? Like, if anything, I don't want this to ruin their transfer, right? Like, I don't want her to be like, no, I'm staying here because, you know, whatever. I'm like trying to think outside the box here. Obviously, if this man was going to divorce her, he knows how she is. But I accidentally sent the message anyway. And I realized when I got a reply back saying that they're in an open marriage. Yep. Her husband does not care who she takes spicy cubes with. But her husband was quite shocked to find out that we didn't know. And I also found out he never threatened her with divorce. Not one single time. Not one single time did this man threaten her with divorce. Because why would you threaten to divorce someone you're in an open relationship with unless you just like didn't want anything to do with it? Like, you know? So I was like, okay, why would she have said y'all were getting a divorce? So he said he wanted to be honest with me. He loved his wife, but that is a ploy that she uses to bait men in. He doesn't think it worked on my husband, but that's definitely what she was trying to do. So I will be talking to this bitch later. You want to be in an open relationship? Sure, fine. That's your prerogative. But just because your marriage is open does not mean mine is. And this shit's got me fucked up.
Hey, bro. What? Oh, my God!
Everyone lives their relationship however they want, but an open relationship is just giving your wife permission to cheat on you. As a man, I would never accept that. Here, the story took a complete turn. It turns out that the woman texting the husband at 1 a.m. is in an open relationship, but her husband never threatened divorce. In other words, she used that as a tactic to attract other men. But let's see how it all ended, because this is getting really interesting.
I found out that my husband's female coworker had a target on his back in multiple ways. She made up a whole fabrication pretending like her husband was threatening her with divorce. And she really needed his help. She really needed some advice. Mind you, my husband was up for promotion at work, and she was a colleague of his, meaning she worked for the company that they needed to land. So in order for him to get this promotion, he had to be on her good side. He didn't really know what advice to give her, so he just offered her spicy cubes, like recommended that they should take them. It could make them more intimate, and that could solve whatever problem they had going on and maybe like halt the divorce process. I don't know. Well, that led to her like sending him inappropriate texts like "you up," asking him if he had any of the cubes. Inappropriate times. Mind you, this woman knew he was married. Well, I found out my husband actually did end up giving her some spicy cubes. And at a work event, it was very clear that her and her husband had taken them. And it was like, okay, their marriage is solved. Like, you know what? You played Cupid. You helped someone out. I thought, you know what? She's going to leave him alone at this point because she only needed advice from him. And like, he helped her. Wrong. She then proceeded to text him, telling him how well the gummies worked for her in an inappropriate manner that I can't say on this app. That made me crash out, and honestly, it pissed me off. So I was like, you know what? Maybe her husband does need to know that she's doing this. I messaged the husband over the good old Facebook. He says they're in an open marriage, and he knows. He was surprised that I didn't know that they were in an open marriage because apparently she had told him that we were. Because their one fucking rule is you don't bring home someone who's married. Unless they're open, I guess. So she fucking lied. At first I was like, did you tell her that we were in an open marriage? My husband swears up and down that he never told her that. His husband let me know that she had a target on his back and that was her next victim. And pretty much said that she must be pretty serious about the target she has on my husband's back because she's never lied to him about a situation like this. So she must really want it. He still seemed to act like he just didn't really care. Kind of like gave me a warning, like, good luck. I'm like, oh, fucking K, I guess. Mind you, my husband landed the promotion that day. The thing is, they were having a celebration for him that night, and this coworker, Teresa, was going to be transferred. She's being transferred to a new location. So mind you, I was just going to let all this slip and go away. Like, whatever, I'm never going to see her again until she decided to text my husband and ask him to meet up in a private spot, maybe in her car in the parking lot, because it was the last time they were going to see each other. And there was some things she just really needed to say to him in private. And my husband texted her and I was like, listen, this is inappropriate. Like, I don't think so. I'm married. Pretty much says that, like, she knows that, like, his wife, me, is on to her. And, like, it's obvious that he has feelings for her, too. Like, why would he spend so much time talking to her? Why would he even offer the spicy cubes? He's like, pretty much, are you crazy? Like, I was trying to help you in your marriage. Like, we work together. This is inappropriate. Then she threatens him and is like, you've used me. Like, you have led me on just so you could get this position. I'm going to make sure you don't get it. Like, I'm going to let my company know. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, you've been inappropriate. So that's when my husband's like having to get his boss involved now, right? Because now she's turned it completely around. His boss is like a very traditional man and is like, this is weird. Like, he doesn't even understand the whole open marriage thing. He's like 70. I'm printing off all the text messages from his phone. We're turning them into HR. I'm stressed the fuck out for myself, for my husband. This whole entire thing is like just crazy. I have one too many dirty martinis and I show up to the work event. I'm crashing the fuck out. Gummies are going everywhere. And I end up getting kicked out of the venue. Boss was totally on my side. And Teresa is now fired. So I don't think I'll ever have to worry about her again. I will say my husband's whole company definitely knows what a spicy cube is now.
Brothers, there's nothing more dangerous than a vengeful woman just because you didn't give her attention. This story is insane. Teresa's husband agrees to an open marriage, knows his wife is a homewrecker, and still doesn't care. Meanwhile, this other woman's husband was just trying to be polite and ended up in a trap. In the end, the paranoid wife saved the day. Just look at how this crazy woman tried to get him fired simply because he didn't give her what she wanted. This proves that a rejected woman can be even more dangerous than a scorned one. We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, here are some questions for you. What do you think about this woman's story? Have you ever owed a woman a favor for helping you get a promotion? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the world to us and motivates us to create more content. Stay tuned for the next exciting video from the wall.